Welcome to the Parnell brothers. We're very fortunate that these guys from Central Oregon can spend some time with us. They're members of the five-piece indie rock band named Elliott, and it's Casey and Corey Parnell. Now, first of all, guys, who's the oldest?
I'm the oldest.
Does that
Even though I don't look it, I'm actually older than he is.
Okay,
so.
Does that make you leader of the band?
Certainly not.
I think we have different opinions about that. But yeah. No, just kidding.
Now tell me, how did you guys come together as a band?
We've been actually playing, well, Corey and I came together a long time ago in the same family. And we made some good friends in high school. Mike Summers, our drummer, and Corey and I had been playing for over 10 years together. So since high school was when we became friends, and we added Evan Eariker and Scott Mortimer kind of along the way. Those guys are great friends as well. But we all kind of grew up together. So
did you grow up in the Bend area?
We grew up in the Bay Area, actually, San Francisco Bay Area. Corey and I did. And then we moved up to another city called Bend, this smaller city called Bend, in like '95. So we've been around Bend, Central Oregon for about 15 years now. And
when did you start the band?
We started in high school, basically, as a different band, and then this band started in 2007.
Now, you're described as an indie band. Do you play music with Christian themes and overtones, or what direction do you look for your music?
Well, I think we found along the way that the greatest impact that we can have is if we kind of are a both-and kind of band. And so we play and try to write songs that relate to the mainstream audience. But, you know, we're trying to write from our hearts, which is very much a place of faith. And so you'll see those undertones and even overtones in that mainstream music. But we also have put out a couple of praise and worship records as well. So we kind of do both.
Since 2007, you played a really large role in the formation of the iHeart events, and you recently had one here. But give us a little bit of background about the iHeart events themselves.
Yeah, it kind of all starts in Cairo, Egypt, far away, and we did a youth conference in Egypt all the way over there. And during the conference, there was a day of service. They basically sent bands and students out. And so we watched that happen, and they went to orphanages and cleaned up city parks in Cairo, all throughout that massive city. And we said, hey, we're in Cairo, but why can't we do this at home? Why can't we make an impact like this at home? And so we started in a small city called La Pine, Oregon. It's about 30 minutes south of us, and did a day of serving with about 120 youth, young people, and adults. And then did a concert that night, and the results we saw were pretty incredible. 700 people in a city of about 5,000 came out, and we were able to share the message of Christ, and just an amazing time, but also able to have, be God's hands and feet on the streets and just serve people, cut wood. We did free hot chocolate stands that day because it was a cold day in January, and just able to make a difference practically in people's lives. So it started in La Pine, and then we just counted up. We've been to 26 cities now, including the area of Rogue Valley last Saturday, and we're just so excited about what God has done through that.
What a twist. We know a lot of bands, a lot of Christian bands who are on tour, who are on regular tours, and some amazing work is done in those events, but this is really taken the next step, I think, above and beyond by the service orientation of the events themselves in conjunction with the music. And I want to ask you about the Medford event too, but tell us a little bit about how Nick got involved with the iHeart events.
Yeah, well, we are, several of the members of the band are staff pastors here at a church in Bend called Westside Church. And a few years back, we had him come and speak at an Easter service. And we all just kind of had this sense that there was going to be a long-term connection with him. Even after that service, we saw thousands of people come to Christ that weekend, and we thought, there's really no one quite as compelling as him around, at least in the evangelist circuit. And so it was as simple as us just pursuing him and his organization, and we said, we're doing these events. It's about the church getting together, unifying, and doing something practical and serving the community. We just said, do you want to be involved? Do you want to be the guy that preaches the gospel? And they said, absolutely. And the first event that we had him out for was iHeart Central Oregon was that 2 years ago now?
Yeah, 2009.
Yeah, and it was just an incredible night. I mean, so much fruit. 8,000 people came out. We saw like 500 people receive Christ for the first time. Amazing. And I think he just was inspired. We were inspired by him, and he was inspired by us, and we kind of struck up a friendship. And from there on out, we've just been kind of flying back and forth and trying to organize events that we can do together.
I didn't set that up very well. I apologize. You know, I mentioned Nick, and of course I refer to Nick Vujicic, and Nick has his unusual set of handicaps that he has overcome in his lifetime, being born without legs and arms, and the challenges involved in that. I'm sure that being involved in a ministry with Nick, including the very first time you saw him, as most of us have, you know, can attest to, it's an experience that kind of evens a lot of things, especially when you think of the struggles that we go through, the issues of our day and those around us, and then we look at somebody like Nick. And I can't imagine, you know, some of the issues that he's had to deal with in his life, and it is very, very compelling to hear his story. And I'm sure that that the impact on the ministry through the iHeart's ministry has been tremendous, just having him on board.
There's no doubt about that. Just seeing Nick puts life in perspective. But then when you speak to him, when you hear, I guess the best word is the anointing that he has to reach broken people, and everybody's a little bit broken in their own way. Man, there's really no one like him. And he always says he has no limbs but no limits, and that certainly comes across. And I think we attribute, you know, much of the success of the events to the idea of the church getting together and being the hands and feet of Jesus, but also to Nick's involvement. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would like to get an update on the event that just occurred here. You guys were at the Lithia Amphitheater. Had you been to that location before?
We just did a site check a couple months back, but I hadn't seen it, and it's a gorgeous amphitheater. Mm-hmm. Man, Medford is. They're fortunate. I mean, you guys have a beautiful amphitheater down there. What a great place to do an event like that.
And it was well attended. Tell us a little bit about the event itself.
Yeah, it kind of started Friday night. Nick flew in. He lives in Southern California currently, but he flew in to be there Friday night for a youth outreach that was put on by local churches down in Medford area. And that was a great night too. About 700 students came out to that. Really incredible. Free pizza, the whole thing, and they had some music there, and we just got to observe and watch that. But then the next day, in kind of typical fashion for these events, we have a service element in the morning and a celebration in the evening, and the service part just blew us away. I mean, 22 churches, 65 service projects happened on the streets that day, and 1,600 volunteers were out there in red shirts and all, serving the community in Rogue Valley. What a tremendous turnout we thought that was. Really incredible to see that happen. And then celebration that night with Nick and Elliot, 3,200 people around that number came out to celebrate the service and to have further impact that night. So what a great day.
That sounds like great. I've heard great reports on it, and especially on the altar call. Tell us a little bit about the altar call event that occurred.
Well, I mean, it's the whole point of what we do, and we've had people you know, bring into question why we even need the evening celebration. It's certainly not about us playing a rock and roll show. It's about the gospel being preached, and you know, faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. We believe that, and we believe that Nick was anointed, you know, to do these altar calls. And as a result, we always see incredible fruit. I think it was 350 first-time salvations. And we count that by the cards that we get with our prayer teams that come down to pray with people. So, I mean, the numbers are staggering, but but we would do, I know it's cliche to say, but we would do the events if it was one person. I know Nick would as well. But it's incredible. It never is just one person. It's always droves of people that come forward, and we're so excited about it. It's why we do what we do.
I'd like to add too that I think a lesson that I'm learning in the process of watching Nick, have people respond to Christ or present that. He's so bold with it. I mean, the first time he presents it is, a couple hundred people come down. He does the whole thing. People raise their hand. They come forward. People are responding emotionally to what God is doing, but also spiritually to what God is doing. And then you feel like it's done, and he goes, you know what? I think there's 30 more people that need to come down. And
he just doesn't
60
let up.
more people come down. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, I think we have the best seats in the house because we're usually playing music behind him at that point. But what an incredible thing to just witness and be a part of. And as Christians, I think we can understand, we can always take another step in our boldness to share the love and just the life-changing, aspects of Christ, what he's done in our lives. We can be more bold in our faith as well.
I think you're right. I think it's a great lesson for all of us, and I'm so glad that you guys were so well received here. I hope you guys can put together another event, and we really appreciate you spending time with us today. Casey and Corey Parnell of the band Elliott, you guys rock. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.